fascinating subject for people. Thank you for joining us today for our hearing on cleaner trains, opportunities for reducing emissions from America's rail network. Thank you to my ranking member, Senator Ricketts, and to the chairman and ranking member of the Committee on Environment and Public Works, Senator Copper and Senator Capito, for their partnership in holding this hearing. It's my pleasure to welcome our three witnesses. Railroads were once the crown jewel of America. They were a product of the industriousness and talent of American workers. Massachusetts is proudly home to some of the earliest railroads. The completion of the Western Railroad in 1843, connecting Boston to the Berkshires, conclusively demonstrated the feasibility of freight rail in the United States of America. 180 years later, unionized American workers stand at the ready to build today's green locomotives. But our railway system is blocking the crossing. In the midst of America's green revolution, our railway operators have lost their taste for American innovation. Today's new locomotives are built to emission standards set by the Environmental Protection Agency, which were last updated in 2008 and have not been revisited for 15 years. The EPA predicted that with the adoption of the next generation clean locomotive technology, these standards could prevent thousands of deaths and hundreds of thousands of lost work and school days. However, we have not stayed on track with EPA's projections. Railroad operators have been reluctant to invest in those clean new locomotives, derailing our pathway to emissions reductions. Nearly half of the Class 1 railway fleet of locomotives is more than 20 years old enough to vote. Those old trains emit almost 7 times as much nitrogen oxide and 13 times as much soot as new, cleaner locomotives. Since the 2008 rulemaking, we have seen more and more evidence that these pollutants are poisoning communities along railways and beyond. These pollutants affect the rail workers who breathe the diesel fumes day in and day out, taking home higher cancer risk and mortality. These pollutants affect the communities who live and work and play next to these railways, burdened with elevated risk of heart and lung disease. And those pollutants affect the ability of states and municipalities to uphold their responsibility to provide residents with healthy air. We have low emissions technology, and it's built by union workers. We even have zero emissions technology, and it's built by union workers. Railroads power America's past, but they can also supercharge our future. We have the technology, we have the workforce to make our railroads safe, efficient, and clean, moving goods and people where they need to go. I am a huge supporter of American railroads and rail workers. I have introduced the Brain Train Act to connect Massachusetts by rail. I have introduced the Freedom to Move Act to support fare-free transit to get Americans onto our trains and our buses. And I've supported increased funding for high-speed rail, and I've introduced the Safe Freight Act to support the safe operation of railways for rail crews and rail-side communities. I believe in American rail, and I believe in the workers that build and operate it. Rail can again become a beacon of American ingenuity, American innovation, and capability, uplifting the talents and industriousness of the hardworking people who build these next-generation locomotives. Today, we will learn about how our outdated regulations have left our communities, our workers, and our rail industry vulnerable. By updating regulations to better reflect the harms of air pollution and technological advances in locomotives, we can get back on track. I look forward to hearing from all of our witnesses about how we can continue to move forward to clean trains, healthy communities, and a strong union workforce. Before we hear from our witnesses, however, let me turn to recognize the ranking member of the subcommittee, Senator Ricketts.
Great. Thank you, Chairman Markey, for initiating this important